Hello everyone, hope all is well. People often ask about the kinds of things I eat because they know that I eat a healthy fruit and vegetable based diet. Today is part 2 of what I eat in a day, and hope it will inspire you with new ideas to add to your own meals. Okay, here we go. The first thing that I have in the morning is lemon juice and water. It's just really refreshing, really hydrating. It's wonderful in the wintertime to have the lemony scent. It's also tons of vitamin C, so it's a great way to start the day. I usually have about a half a glass of water, about 4 ounces, I guess, with 1 or 2 lemons in it. And you can sweeten it if you like. I like it just like that, just like it is with the lemons in the water. And it's just a really great way to start the day. Then the next thing is the real breakfast. Breakfast, I really love what I call a porridge. It's made from flaxseed powder. It's ground flaxseed, and I found that available in the supermarkets actually for affordable. Sometimes if you go to a pricier health food store, it may be too pricey, but I find it affordable in the supermarkets. And make sure that it's ground. It's not regular seeds. It's ground like it's a powder. And I add to it protein powder and a little bit of sweetener. I used 2.5 heaping tablespoons of the flaxseed powder and 1.5 heaping tablespoons of the protein powder. My protein powder is not sweetened, so if yours is sweetened, you might not want to add the stevia or whatever your sweetener you're going to use. You could use a liquid sweetener, but then you would want to reduce the amount of water. So once you've mixed up all these powders, you add water as a consistency that you like. One thing about flax seeds is that it keeps absorbing and absorbing and absorbing. So when you put water in, a few minutes later you'll go back and it's all thick, and because it's absorbed all your water. So just keep adding the water in there, and after 1 or 2 additions, it will be good consistency that you like. And then the great thing about this is that you can add anything you want. You can add fruit, you can add nuts, any kind of thing you want in there. I do apples, oranges, pears, grapes, anything that's around that's seasonal. I usually have dried fruit and nuts later on in the day. I find them a little heavy in the morning, but I did add a few little dried cranberries here just for a little bit of sweetness and a little bit of a treat. The next thing is mid-morning snack. I usually have 2 snacks a day between the meals. I like fruit in the morning, so I will have anything that's around. Here's some pineapples, apples, and little clementine oranges. Really anything that is seasonally available. I love watermelon and all the summer fruits, so I'll just have a little bit of a snack, just to sort of keep me going over to lunch. It's also, I think a lot of times I take the snack also just as like a break in the morning, because if you're doing a project or working or something, that just taking a little break and having a little snack is really helpful. And then that leads us to lunch. Now lunch will usually start in with the nuts and dried fruits. It starts to get a little heavier because usually after lunch is the time when I go out into the world and I'm doing whatever tasks or errands or go to the library or whatever. So I want a little bit heavier energy behind me if I'm going to be running around, So this is a lunch that I happen to have when I had some of the things in the house. It is a pineapple and I believe some dates in the bowl, and under that is actually a non-dairy yogurt. It's an almond milk yogurt. It is so good. It is available in some of the major supermarkets. I'm also looking into how to make some of this yogurt with the almond milk. One thing about not eating dairy is that I really miss some of the creamy things that are offered from dairy, such as yogurt. And so this is just a wonderful alternative. It also has the probiotics in it, just like regular yogurt. So you may want to look into almond milk yogurt, or there's also soy milk yogurt, and I've also seen oat milk yogurt. So all the different types of yogurts made with non-dairy. Actually just also thought of coconut milk yogurt they have. So that's what's in the bowl. And next to the bowl are some pistachios. And then there's a little bottle of a green drink. I really do not care for super dark leafy vegetables, which is a huge surprise for someone who eats a plant-based meal, plant-based foods. I really do not care for spinach and all that. So this drink is great because it has all that stuff in it, but it also has some fruit juices and things that not necessarily covers up the green vegetables, but just adds the flavor and makes it taste good. I don't very often have prepared foods like this with the little bottles. I did happen to have this in the house, a few bottles of this. I really thought it was great. And you may want to start out by experimenting from the store some of the drinks like that, the healthier plant drinks, and then you could start making them at home if you want. But otherwise, it's just a great addition. It has tons of vitamins, tons of all the great stuff that are in fruits and vegetables. And believe it or not, this meal is pretty filling. It's pretty filling. By the time you've eaten all that, there's a lot of fiber and a lot of good stuff in that lunch. So those are some ideas there. And then the next thing is the mid-afternoon snack. Mid-afternoon snack for me is almost always nuts. Again, I'm out and about in the world. Here we have pistachios, we have some peanuts, we have walnuts, and we have pecans. That's in a clockwise circle, starting with the pistachios. I use little glass jars instead of baggies, instead of plastic bags, and I do that for environmental reasons and also economic reasons. If you have a little jam or jelly jar, like a little small one, 2 or 3 inches high, I might fill that with the peanuts or the walnuts or something like that, and I'll maybe take 2 of the jars out with me. I've only had the jar break once, and that was because I had my bag on the floor next to me at the library, and I just kind of let the jar go into the bag. Instead of placing it down in the bag, I kind of let it go and drop into the bag, and it ended up hitting the floor under the bag, and it broke. So that was actually, I guess you could say that was an action that I did, and that's why it broke. I've never had them break in transit or handling the bag or anything else. It was really just when I dropped it like that. So I recommend the jars, and when you get home, they're so easy to wash. And I know some people will wash plastic bags. I do too. I find it a little difficult unless you have, I guess people have drying racks for plastic bags and things like that. But I also kind of feel that it's hard to get them completely clean in the little corners and everything. But I will use the plastic bags several times over. But however, the glass jars are great for that sort of thing. When you pack the jars in your bag, you can also separate them or make sure that they're not, clinking against each other and things like that. So that leads us to dinner. And dinner is just wonderful, especially in the summertime, is giganto salad with all kinds of stuff on there. Any kinds of seasonal fruit. This picture shows lettuce, cherry tomatoes, some apples, yellow peppers, I believe, maybe some walnuts, oranges, all sorts of stuff. And you can add your protein on there by using either nuts or nut butter. The higher protein of peanuts, I eat raw peanuts, and just really fabulous. It's a great time to just sit down and have a nice meal. If you're by yourself, you can have a magazine or something like that, and because it's going to take a little while to eat all this, it's a lot of chewing. It's also a lot of chopping and preparing, but it's well worth it, and I especially love it after a good day or maybe somebody just finished running or biking or something like that. It's just super refreshing. So that would be dinner. And that brings us to something important, supplements. Supplements, I try not to take too many, but there are some that if you're eating a plant-based diet, you should be cautious about. One of them is B12. I live up north, so vitamin D is really important. I know that the doctors now test in your blood for vitamin D. And mine was actually very low. It was a routine physical, and my vitamin D was very low. And so I started taking vitamin D, which helped so much. I highly recommend it. I have some other things in here. Some zinc. This MSM is for joints and for your skin health, and I also have some calcium down there, and if you see in the front. And I think, people, there's a controversy around supplements. They say, well, you should be getting everything you need from food, and that's probably true. But I also say, if it's available and it's natural and it's vegan, it's plant-based, why not? Why not use the extra boost? It seems kind of, why not, if it's there, why not use it? If it's environmentally conscious and it's animal, cruelty-free and all that stuff, let's do it. So that brings us to another supplement, which is super important in my day, and that is protein powder. The protein powder that I use is soy protein. It is unflavored. This is the brand is called Now, and this is a really yet another controversial topic. Soybeans, I believe, are made in the Amazon, or they're grown in somewhere where by harvesting them is kind of damaging the earth, and they're also grown as GMO. It's hard to find non-GMO soy. I believe that this product is non-GMO soy. I don't have it right near me right now, but if you were to look it up, I'm pretty sure it's non-GMO. There's also an issue where people feel that the soy has too much estrogen in it for a person, and that it can throw you off balance. Gosh, I just feel, try to buy your soy from reputable companies. Try to get the non-GMO. I have never had any trouble in terms of, feeling like any estrogen thing. I have been eating soy all my life. I love tofu. I like tempeh, all the soy products. I do know that there are cultures that are based heavily on soy, such as Japan, and they, I believe that their incidence of breast cancer is really, really low. And estrogen, they say that breast cancer can be caused from too much estrogen or estrogen imbalance, which is what people think is in the soy protein. So it's so confusing, really. Just do your research, use your instincts, and try it out, think about it. I think it's great. I use it. I probably take about maybe one a day. Sometimes I'll skip a day or miss a day, and that's okay. But as you saw in the breakfast, I put some spoonfuls in my porridge. A couple spoonfuls. That was probably about 10 grams of protein. In this soy protein powder, which is not sweetened and not flavored, it is 1 scoop. I think, one scoop is about 20 grams, and a scoop is maybe 2 tablespoons. So a steak, I believe, is 25 to 30 grams of protein. So you're getting a very nice amount of protein here. There is another factor about protein, and that is how much you actually absorb. I think it's called net protein usability or something like that, how much you can actually absorb in your body. So if you were, say you're supposed to get 65 grams of protein a day, if you got 80 grams of protein a day as a vegetarian, you would probably surely be fine, I would think. That's everyone's different, I guess. But so I also want to comment that this soy protein powder has no vitamin supplements in it. And the reason why I prefer that, and I want to also warn people, if you are considering becoming a vegetarian or a vegan, that many vitamins in things like protein powders or energy bars or cereals, boxed cereals, many of those vitamins are animal-based. And so especially, let's see, well, calcium, of course, there's a bunch of, I can't really think of them off the bat, but if you went down the list, there's some that are very clearly from animals. And vitamin D, actually, you would want a vegan vitamin D. Most vitamin D is from fish, I believe. And there's also a vitamin D that's from mushrooms for plant-based vitamin D. which is interesting because mushrooms are never in the light of day. So I just thought that was pretty interesting. Anyway, so this protein powder does not have any vitamins in it, no flavorings, no sweeteners, nothing, which is great because you can add whatever you want to it to make it your own. It does have a tiny bit of like a powdery flavor to it, so that's why you might want to add some things to it. Anyway, I think I've talked enough about protein powder, but it is super essential. It's something that I've been paranoid about ever since I started being a vegetarian when I was 17. I know that there's a lot of people that say you don't need that much protein, that Westerners get too much protein and all sorts of things. But I've always been super paranoid about it because I don't eat meat. And also, I just feel better when I have a nice amount of protein, such as, 65 to 80 grams of protein a day, something like that, according to my height and weight. Everyone would look up their own height and weight, and that would be available online. So, okay, well, let's move on to the best part, and that is desserts. I usually have very simple desserts, and just like so simple. In fact, here's a picture. You may see some dark chocolate on the right, and on the left are some Oreo cookies. Believe it or not, Oreo cookies are vegan. If you look at the ingredients, there's no dairy, there's no animal products. They are vegan. They are not raw, because I try to eat as much as I can raw, and actually the chocolate isn't really raw either, because it has to be cooked. You have to process the beans. But as a treat, I think it's fine. And I don't think there's any chemicals in the Oreos. I do think that just to have a treat now and again is really important. I think that having some fun, festive food is really important, and not to adhere too strictly or too radically for too long of a time without something like a piece of chocolate or some cookies or the foods that you like. Say you like corn chips. Well, there's so many healthy, organic, nice types of corn chips on the market that you could choose those as a substitute if you wanted, but really need to. I really think it's important to have a little treat sometimes, and especially if you're in a social situation, you would and everyone's eating a treat. You're not going to sit there without anything on your plate. So there's some good alternatives, if they have fruit or if they have, a little piece of chocolates or cookies or something like that, the Oreos. And so that is a good sample of what I eat in a day. I do, when I am doing a lot of exercise in the summer, for example, running and biking, I will add some grains in there, like types of granola and things like that. I just sort of feel the need for the extra oomph. But otherwise, I hope you have a great day. It is great to speak with you. And here's to staying healthy and pursuing all the things that you love. I'll talk to you soon. And, write me if you have any comments. And I'm happy to hear from you. Okay, bye-bye.